Shalom. So I came across this poem this week. I use a lot of his poetry, Alden Salavi, and this one was new to me, but it's a perfect reminder during this time that we can't wallow in what brings us down and wallow in what holds us back, and sometimes we need to be reminded of who we are and what we're worth. So this is called Let Me. Let me be the one who reminds you that wisdom and beauty shine through your eyes. Let me be the one who reminds you that power and courage are in your hands and in your heart. Let me be the one who reminds you that today is your day to choose righteousness and love. You are a gift of light. You are a well of strength. You are a message of hope. Let me be the one who reminds you to sing, to pray, to dance, to bless, to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked, to free the captive, to redeem the oppressed. And you will remind me to be the person that I was intended to be. Then together we will be messengers bringing holiness into the world. Blessed are you, holy presence. You call on us to use our gifts in this world. Our way into Kabbalat Shabbat, this time to prepare ourselves and our souls for some Shabbat peace.
Come on over here, you're out of the picture.
It's okay, just keep going.
Ki rav lo yedi
Did nefesh avarachama shochavda eritzona.
So we continue with Shiru Ladonai, sing a song, sing a new song.
So I keep thinking about this psalm. A psalm that demands joy, I feel like. I keep thinking about it because the days still feel like they all bleed into each other, right? These 20 weeks or whatever it's been of the quarantine.
You mean it's still March?
Exactly. So, right, what is the idea of a new song, right? There's something kind of ironic about a 3,000-year-old poem telling us to sing a new song. But, right, it never gets old, the idea of needing the new. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai Baruch Shemo, Basru Meyom Leyom Yeshuato, Sapru Vagoyim Yevodo, Bechol Ha'amim Niflotav, Ki Gadol Adonai, U'Me'olam Me'od, Norahu, Al Kol Elohim, Ya'irai, Ki Kol Elohei, Harvaim Elelim, V'Adonai Shamayim Asa, Hod V'Hada, Lefanav Oz V'Tiferet B'Mikdasho, Avul Adonai Mishpechot Amim, Avul Adonai Kavod Va'oz, Avul Adonai Kevod Shemo, Zeu Mincha Ukol Chatzrotav, Yaira Yaira Yaira
Get a little nervous clapping. As a non-music person, I know I'm supposed to clap on the 2 and the 4. And I'm always nervous I'm going to clap on the 1 and the 3, and then I'm never going to hear the end of it. So we move into Lecha Dodi. This is called Blessing the Marriage by Rumi. Lecha Dodi is all about the Shabbat bride, and when we rise on the last verse to greet the Shabbat bride, it's as if we're welcoming a bride. There's this bond that exists, and so this is called blessing the marriage. This marriage be wine with halva, honey dissolving in milk. This marriage be the leaves and fruit of a date tree. This marriage be women laughing together for days on end. This marriage a sign, this marriage beauty, this marriage a moon in a light blue sky, this marriage, this silence, fully mixed with the Spirit.
לך דודי לקראת סקאלה, ונשבע נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת סקאלה, ונשבע נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. שמו אחד לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת סקאלה, נשבע נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת סקאלה, ונשבע נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה בראש מקדם נסוכה, כל מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי דודי, לך דודי לקראת סקאלה, ונשבע נקבלה. And we rise as we are able to greet the Sabbath bride.
בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת סקאלה, ונשבע נקבלה.
So hopefully you've had time to let go of some of the schmutz of the week, which I thought was a Daniel term, but I've come to learn is a Rabbi Susan term. So I hope you had that opportunity. I'm going to share one more poem with you called Blessing of the Soul. In the presence of the inexplicable energy that binds my soul with all that is living, with the life source embodied in the human spirit, I stand in awe of the genius of creation. Holy spark within, I open myself to you, to all that illuminates life and infuses it with fire and magic and the movement of the heart. Amen.
Anna bikoa gedula mincha. Darenu Nora Yairara Yum Diddy Yum Diddy Yeridam Yeridaro Yeridaro Yeridam Yeridaro Yeridaro Anna Beko Akidulat Mincha Tati Terura Tati Terura Kaberinat Rinat Amcha Sagvenu Tarenu Nora Yarara Yum Diddy Yum Diddy Yeridam Yeridaro Yeridaro Yeridam Yeridaro
So we move out of Kabbalat Shabbat into the Shema and its blessings, which begins with the Baruch Hu. So once again, as you are able, or if you choose, please rise as we make our way through the Shema and its blessings. Baruchu et Adonai Amorah Ma'ariv Aravim has always been one of my favorites. There's something peaceful about night settling. I'm pretty afraid of the dark. As an adult, I find it very peaceful as the sun begins to set and as the house becomes still. So this is an interpretation of Ma'ariv Aravim from a Hillel Siddur. A wind arrived from you, one evening by the sea, caught a cloud, and breathed it toward the sun, whose cooling warmth drew it pink and orange, purple, yellow, gold upon the strands. And waves your sea wind had whipped white, caught the gold, laughed up the yellow, till waves and clouds, bright sea, bright sky, rode together. A tide of clouds come in, a tide gone out, to welcome evening sun, like mystics surging towards Shabbat, its colors melting in the tide.
חושך וחושך מפני אור.
We've been studying Tractate Brachot on Tuesdays in Talmud, at least in the COVID era. We've been studying it. This ancient sort of, we've been comparing the Talmud in some ways to sort of ancient Jewish Wikipedia, right? Because it's this project that's not in any way written by one person, but it's written by dozens and hundreds of people over really the better course of 1,000 years. With people coming in and editing and redacting and changing and arguing over the edits and arguing over what the right tradition was and so on and so forth. But we've been studying the section that creates the Shema as we know it. And what strikes me this week, we have our Torah portion Ra'eh, which talks about the idea of a blessing and a curse before us. That both of these stand as an option before us, and yet the piece that it keeps coming back to, that I keep thinking about is it holds out that if you follow the course of the blessing, then it says you will have no one impoverished, you will have no one hungry in your land, right? Except it doesn't phrase it actually as anything other than a command, right? And so in some sense this becomes, how do we tell if we're really living our values, right? How do we tell if we're really doing the work that we say we are doing? And the answer is, we won't have needy in our land. Or to say it differently, this idea of reward and punishment that we find in the Shema, this idea of the back and forth of believing that if we live our values the best as we should, that somehow the world is different. There's a scale, right? The Torah presents a way of judging ourselves. And the existence of the needy is an indictment of us, is what the Torah would say.
Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך. These are the values that we're supposed to live when we wake up and when we go to sleep and all the times in between. These go on the way, when we go on the winding road, on the derech, and when we come back home. When we lie down and when we rise up. These should be as if they're signs between our eyes. They're always there in front of us. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני Elohechem, because we can't talk about any of these things without remembering Mitzrayim. It demands the end of the V'ahavta, that we remember where we came from, that we remember that we were slaves, that we not enter into the Amidah, that we not enter into prayer without remembering where we came from. Right? We're in the book of Deuteronomy right now, and Deuteronomy reminds us over and over and over again, right? This is still the Torah. We haven't even entered into the land. And it already reminds us of the dangers as they
say, of being a little too bougie, right? Of getting a little too comfortable, of finding ourselves in the land wealthy, comfortable, right? Maybe in today's parlance, finding ourselves as not frontline essential workers. Because of course we have essential workers who are wealthy essential workers. And then we have essential workers that have been deemed essential by society, as in it's essential for those of us who have the money to afford it for them to continue working. And so Deuteronomy reminds us, right, our Torah portion right now reminds us, commands us not to forget to, at every moment, right, twice a day in our prayers, to remember that we were slaves and that obligates us. That's the corner idea of Judaism, right? That's the on one foot idea of Judaism. That our past doesn't give us special privileges, that the bad things that happen to us don't give us special privileges, they give us special obligations. Coming through. Huh. Yeah, it looks very jerky in there.
Yeah, I just happened to look at it to see if people...
Yeah. Is anyone saying anything about it? The signal is lagging and twitching, but the sound is fine. Karen's going to talk for a minute. I'm going to try to fix this.
Let's see, what could I talk about? We're going to try to get this fixed. We're sorry. It's one of the, there have been blessings in the pandemic. I will say